good morning. We were talking about creep, the different mechanisms of creep. In our last class, we have discussed about the creep mechanism which is controlled by dislocations. Okay. So, dislocation creep we have seen, and we can say that dislocation creep occurs at low temperature as well as high stress. Okay. In high stress also we have defined different regions that dislocation creep which are controlled by few equation we have seen. Okay. So, those equations, like we have one equation that epsilon s dot is, say, epsilon s dot, that is the steady state creep rate controlled by the dislocation mechanism, is a dv gb by kt sigma by g whole to the power n, where this n is ranging from 3 to 8. Okay. Mostly, in most cases, this n equal to 5. Many cases we see that the value of n is equal to 5. So, this kind of equation is known as power law creep. Okay. Means under dislocation creep, as we have this component exponent n, so it is also named as power law creep. Okay. So, inside this power law creep, we have, as I said, it is in the stress ranges of intermediate to high stress ranges, we have this kind of creep mechanism. So, based on this, we have a diagram which actually determines the creep rates. So, based on the applied stress, we have different regions. In one case, it is, or the power law that we are discussing here, where n may be from 3 to 8, that denotes in the central region. Okay. So, this is basically the creep rate versus stress curve. Okay. So, what is there is we have normalized this creep rate by the diffusivity as well as here the stress divided by the shear modulus. Why that is required? Now, to make a simplified graph, because for many materials the strength is not same. So, the applied stress will be varying. So, for that particular material we have to normalize this of by the shear modulus of the material. In that case, we can in a single diagram compare. Do you follow this or not? Means why normalizing is required? You see, the simple thing is, if I am working with magnesium and if I am working with a material of high strength like alumina, okay, the applied stress ranges obviously will be different. Okay. So, say this diagram we have prepared for aluminum or magnesium, for which the sigma will be maximum up to 500 megapascal or so, maybe less than that also, 300 400 megapascal. So, that is the case for aluminum, magnesium, etc. But if I work with alumina which is high strength compared to this, I must not be doing the tests and all with 300 400 megapascal, something higher than that. So, obviously, this axis or axis should be comparable for all the materials. That is why we need to normalize them as per their some constant value, like the shear modulus. So, applied stress, if it is normalized for aluminum, shear modulus is low. So, sigma by g will give some certain value, and for alumina the shear modulus also is high, applied stress is high. So, if we normalize this by some constant like g, I will have similar x axis. Similarly, here the creep rate which is there for other materials may vary, different materials the creep rate may vary. So, I have to compare the creep rates of materials in terms of their say diffusivity, atomic diffusivity, etc. So, this is a normalized curve. Here it is epsilon s dot divided by dv, here it is sigma by g. So, I can say that creep rate we are comparing with the applied stress, and if we do so, then in the low stress range, I can say that in the low stress range the creep rate is linear. Okay, that is, in our equations I have something like sigma by g to the power n, that n values may be 1, 2, etc., that way may be correlated. So the first equation we have written in our first class, if you can see in our last day's class. So that kind of, that is the creep which occurs, or the creep rates which occur at a low stress region. Okay, at low stress region, or rather I can say that when creep rate is very small, okay, then that is under Harper-Dorn creep, means this creep mechanism is known as Harper-Dorn creep. When it is following the power law, that equation we have written here, then it obviously it is named as power law creep. And now if the applied stress is even more than that, then this n value exceeds of that, or we can say that the creep rate becomes very high. Creep rate becomes very high, and in that case this power law relationships also breaks down, and we have some new relationship. That relationship is there, but we are not going up to much depth of that. So you just consider that at a high stress this power law breaks down, and different kinds of creep equations are there, creep rate equations are there, which we will be following. In that case this power law will not follow. Okay. So the thumb rule for this is we have to have some high stress as well as low temperature. But if we go by the method of say low stress and high temperature, okay, if we go by the method of low stress and high temperature, then what happens? So in case of that, I have this diffusion creep we have named. So diffusion creep involves high temperature, low stress. Okay, so what we have seen earlier is there is dislocation glide, then due to presence of temperature. Yes, do you have any question? So earlier we have seen that there is dislocation glide, and then due to presence of temperature, some certain temperature which is above the homologous temperature of the material, there is some climb. So that way the dislocation actually controlled the creep behavior, or rather I can say that as soon as this climb is happening, then only the creep deformation is going on, isn't it? Because we have seen in that Wehrmann model that one dislocation comes here, obstacle gets obstacled, and then obstructed, then it goes to one step, another slip plane, etc. So this climb step actually controls the dislocation movement mechanism, है ना? So in that case we consider that kind of deformation of the material as dislocation creep. But when instead of dislocation movement, that means we are applying some low stresses, so this kind of movement is not there, but similarly other movements are there. For that I have low stress as well as high temperature, and we know that at high temperature materials diffusivity increases. Okay, high temperature materials diffusivity increases, and that is how in the material there will be atomic diffusion. So how it happens, atomic diffusion and all? For that we have two mechanisms again. That means inside diffusion creep we have two different mechanisms. One is Navarro-Herring creep. Okay, I am not writing the full name, you see it from the book. Okay, Navarro-Herring creep. Another one is Coble creep. So we have in diffusion creep two different creep mechanisms. One is Navarro-Herring creep, another one is Coble creep. So what is Navarro-Herring and Coble, that we will be seeing now. Say this is one single grain of a polycrystalline material. This is one single grain of a polycrystalline material, or if I am working with a single crystal, then that particular grain in it. Okay, so what happens is whenever we are giving the creep deformation to this, that means in one direction I am putting some tensile load. Okay, I am putting some tensile load, and other direction we are giving some compressive load, obviously because this is in tensile. So that way it will be contracted. So, whenever this kind of situation is there, then what happens is inside the material I will have so as soon as whatever we are doing is, as soon as we are loading it, that means one material under tensile loading during the creep deformation. So, what will have, there will be some atomic mismatch or rather atomic volume mismatch. Do you follow this? Means we are loading it in this direction, compressing it, as well as some temperature is associated, high temperature is associated. So, what will happen in the tensile direction and in the compressive region of the grain, a particular grain if we are considering, then in these two regions, tensile phase and the compressive phase, material will have some atomic volume mismatch. That means what? Now, in this region I will have some higher number of atoms. Why? Because diffusivity increases in the material. So, the mass flow will take place from the compressive region towards the tensile region of the material. I can say that as mass flux, and as in one direction mass is moving, that means some vacancy creation will be there. From this compressive region some mass flow is there, that means I can say some vacancy will be created, or in other words I can say from here to here some vacancy movement is there on the material. Okay. So, what will happen in the structure? Now, there will be a tensile loading plus some atomic movement will be there. Why? Because atomic volume mismatch will be there because of high temperature, diffusivity increases and atomic diffusion takes place. So, from this region atomic diffusion will be towards the tensile region of the material, and that is how this mass flux will be there, that is from here to here some movement of atoms will be there, and in this region I will have somewhere like higher number of atoms, and that is the way what we will see that. So, this is the initial and that is the final one. That means during creep the deformation the diffusion occurs, and due to that I will have this kind of elongation of the grain of a particular grain. Okay. So, this kind of diffusion controlled mechanism is known as Nabarro-Herring creep mechanism. Okay. So, do you follow or not? If not, then you ask me. If not, you ask me. So, this is known as Nabarro-Herring creep mechanism, and this creep occurs at low stresses. Low stresses means what? Now, sigma by g less than 10 to the power minus 4. Nabarro-Herring creep or diffusion creep rather I can say occurs sigma by g less than 10 to the power minus 4. Okay, because we cannot directly write sigma, because sigma for many materials will vary. So, we have to compare in terms of sigma by g, okay, which is normalized with the shear modulus. So, the less stress means sigma by g less than 10 to the power minus 4, in these stress ranges Nabarro-Herring creep occurs. Okay. And for that I have a particular equation of creep rate, and that tells so the creep rate in this case is some constant sigma divided by d square, where d is the grain size. You can write here, this is the d, small d. Other things you understand, sigma is the applied stress, b is the Burgers vector of the material, dV is the vacancy diffusivity, okay, diffusion coefficient of this vacancy, because the movement of vacancy is associated here. Okay, movement of vacancy is associated here. So, dV is the vacancy diffusivity, K is the Boltzmann constant, T is the temperature in absolute scale, D, small d I should write here, because there I have written small d. Small d is the grain size. So, here one thing which we can consider? Huh? K is Boltzmann constant. Yes, I think you have considered earlier this K, है ना? K is Boltzmann constant. Okay, and D is the grain size, and from here we can see that grain size is in the denominator. That means if during creep deformation the grain size, we know earlier we have seen that reducing grain size is better for a material's strength and all other properties. That means if I can reduce D grain size, material's ductility also enhances, strength enhances, sometimes ductility also enhances. We have Hall-Page equation, etc. we have seen earlier, but for creep the very small grain size is not beneficial, because this small grain size means what? That the diffusion distance will be reduced. Okay, if you have a small grain size, the diffusion distance will be reduced. I think you can understand. Instead of this, if I have a grain like this, from here to here movement of atom or vacancy is much more easier compared to this one. Okay, so the diffusion creep is detrimental, or rather I can say that diffusion creep is much more pronounced if I have a small grain size. Okay, because it is here, and why that is so? Because of this diffusion distance reduces and all. Fine. Okay, so this is Nabarro-Herring creep. Then what is Cobold creep? For Cobold creep we have something like this. So, schematically we can say in this matter, what we can say here, the thing is, in this case the atomic movement or vacancy movement occurs to this region, that means grain interior. Okay. But here the movement of atoms etc. occurs through the grain boundary, along the grain boundary. That means what? Now please try to understand. Say this was the initial grain structure of the material. Initial grain structure of the material is this. On this you have, as I mentioned in our last class, make a say scratch, and then due to creep deformation the grains have got elongated. But once it got elongated, obviously for elongation in between them there will be some gap, because the grain is this much wide, but for elongation it has to be shrinked in this region. So, it has got shrinked here, and in between there is a gap formation, but the gap, that means what? Now you have to make a vacancy inside in between two grains, or you have to have some crack in the material. So, the grains, what they do basically, they slide over each other. So, the grain basically slide, and due to that, after this sliding, the vacancy whatever has created by elongation has got reduced, gets reduced, and that is why after this reduction we can see there is a straight line whichever is there earlier, that has got shifted. So, what is the total distance travelled in the grain boundary? Now we can say from this distance to that distance, means the straight line was like that, now the straight line has changed in this manner. So, this much distance has got finally in the material's total deformation. Okay, do you follow this? So, what happens is, in between the stages we may have some lesser creep, but at a final stage if I measure what is the total creep, we may have this is the total deformation, only the grain boundary sliding whatever has happened inside the material. Okay, so, what we can find out from here is during Cobold creep I have the atomic diffusion through the grain boundary. In the first case we have atomic diffusion in between a grain, here I have the diffusion through the grain boundary, and that much amount of whatever sliding, whatever has happened, we can consider by what distance initially that scratches and all we have made, that much by measuring those displacements. That means, by measuring the grain boundary sliding, we can have some idea about what is the total creep deformation by this method. And here also the creep rate, we have certain equation, that is for Cobold creep I have epsilon s dot equal to 50 dgv So, here the equation is something like this: 50 sigma b to the power 4 dgb, dgb is the grain boundary diffusivity, divided by k t d cube, okay, k t d cube. So, what we can see different from there is, here the dependence on grain size is more, dependence on grain size is more. Again, if the grain size is smaller, then the creep rate will be more. Again, what we can say, that if I have a small grain, then number of grain boundaries will be more, grain boundary volume will be more, that we know, because a smaller grain is having higher volume of grain boundary. So, Cobold creep, as it is associated with diffusion through the grain boundary, so smaller grains, that means why you can see that a dependence on D is much more pronounced here in this case of Cobold creep. Okay. But in general, these different types of creeps are generally occurs simultaneously. So, total amount of diffusion creep, if I have to measure for a material, I can say that we have to add the total amount of Cobold creep and Navarro herring creep together. Okay. Means separately measuring, or the phenomena or these mechanisms are occurring separately, that generally does not happen. Okay. So, this is the case. Up to this, who is having question? Okay, so this is known as deformation mechanism map. That means, from here, as we have said earlier, that for a material at low temperature, high stress, high temperature, low stress, what happens and all. Here what we can see is this is the deformation mechanism map. You can see here, oh, I have not written axis. This is T by Tm, that is temperature, normalized, or you can say homologous temperature. Here it is sigma by G, the stress parameter, and here sigma by G equal to 10 to the power 0 means what? Now, that is very close to theoretical strength of the material. 10 to the power 0 means 1. So, sigma applied stress is very high, sigma by G is 10 to the power minus 2 means that way we are reducing the applied stress. Okay. And here I have T by Tm, T by Tm equal to 1 means this is the melting point of the material, and that way it is reducing temperature. So, at very low temperature, very low stress, only there is elastic deformation of the material, but if it crosses the T by Tm more than 0.5, then the creep deformation starts, and here I have Cobold creep, then Navarro herring creep, very high temperature here. Sometimes in this region, this dislocation creep, dislocation glide also occurs at high temperature, high applied stress and low temperature towards this region. That means what we can say, that many creep mechanisms are interrelated, not that always we can totally differentiate them from each another, but that is the deformation mechanism map for a particular material. Okay. Next class we will you please bring the calculator, because we will be doing some problems, small problem. Yes, this diagram, I don't think you can see it, not camera, see this. So, in this I have a grain structure, later you can see in your so you can see that some straight lines are there and which is changed, it means linearity. From here it is a straight line and then it has changed. So, that way we can say that during creep deformation, look, I will give it to you, whoever is interested can take and see this. Okay, so what we can say that in these materials we made some scratches, okay, but due to creep deformation, in one case I have from linearity it has deviated, another case some amount of crack formation, in another case some rotation is there, that means the linear straight line has got rotated. Okay, so this kind of deformation mechanisms we can see and circulate, I mean give trans. Okay, so that is how we can say that during creep deformation some linear straight line, initially we can make a straight line which have got changed its direction. So, in these papers we can see some variation in the graphs. So, any question? Ask me. No questions. So, I only will brief. What we have seen today is that power law creep, we said Harper-Dunn creep, and we have seen this power law equation, n ranges from 3 to 8, mostly n equal to 5, and then at very low stress, this is Harper-Dunn creep where n we may equate with 1 or something 2 etc. Harper-Dunn creep, after that power law, and then high stress power law breaks down. So, we have one particular diagram, and there is the axis we generally normalize by shear modulus as well as here by the diffusivity. Okay. Then we have seen the diffusion creep. Diffusion creep is of two types, one is Navarro-Herring creep, another one is Coble creep. We said that all these are related to the material's grain size. If grain size is smaller, then there is problem in creep resistance of a material. That means what problem? Now, grain size smaller means higher creep deformation, lower creep resistance of the material. And then we have seen that there is atomic diffusion as well as vacancy diffusion in the material, and after that we have seen in Coble creep and this that atomic diffusion, vacancy diffusion etc. occurs through the grain. For Navarro-Herring creep, these things occur, atomic diffusion occurs through the grain boundary in case of Coble creep. Okay. And then we said that fine grain means diffusion distance is less, as well as the amount of or number of volume of grain boundary increases in case of fine grain materials. So, that way the diffusion distance reduces, or we can say that the grain boundary diffusion increases because the grain size has got reduced. Okay. Then we say we have seen the diffusion mechanism map, that is done by in terms of sigma by G versus T by Tm, that is the normalized stress versus homologous temperature, and there for any material we can have some idea that how these are related. That means for different materials which region what the creep mechanism will take place. Okay. So, that is all.